Josh Arnold Investment Consultant brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1566, June 18th, 2025. The record high on this day was 98 degrees in 1953. I bet that was a lovely day on the lakes. And it was 39 degrees in the morning of this day in 1876. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
We just learned that, I don't have it in front of me. One of you fellows will have to tell me. Somebody broke into Melissa Hortman's house?
I like your version, Matthew, if you still have it in front of you.
Did a source send this? A mole?
A mole sent this, and this was from Mara Gottfried.
Well, Mara's one of our moles, but we're identifying her.
Oh.
She's a crime reporter for the St. Paul Pioneer Press, and a very good one.
She said 14 minutes ago that Brooklyn Park police say in a press release there was a break-in at the home of Rep. Melissa Hortman, where she and her husband were fatally shot last weekend.
That's terrible. That is really some low-rent burglarizing.
Police had a trailer camera in the front of the house, and the break-in was behind the plywood in the back of the house.
And the family says they don't think anything has been taken. Is that correct, Matt?
The family had gone through, and apparently they had taken things of value already out, but they didn't notice anything that was really missing.
I meant to look this up. I don't know why I want to know it. I guess I just want to know it. What did Mark Hortman do? Could somebody find that for me?
Oh, good question.
Mark Hortman was, he certainly was the quiet partner in that. You never really heard about Mark much, but they had a long, successful marriage. 2 kids who are adult kids now.
Who also released a statement.
I saw that, yeah. What did, do we know anything about Mark Hortman? I have 2 staff members feverishly going to the...
Not it.
He worked as a program manager at nVent, a St. Louis Park-based public company that provides electrical solutions for customers. Strong information technology background. He recently was helping teams re-platform onto a new CMS technology. On LinkedIn, Hortman described his professional credentials: multifaceted, personable technical leader for designing, managing, developing, testing, and deploying apps, e-commerce, software as a service, and web-based applications.
So Mark was an IT guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Originally from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A native, I should say, of Raleigh.
I believe Melissa is a proud Blaine Bengal. I think she went to Blaine High School. She's a Minnesotan. Getting back to the great race, which we discussed yesterday, I'll leave it to Downing, an offsite correspondent, to find a Minnesota connection to the great race. I'm offering a Minnesota connection to the great race. The event is named after, if not inspired by, the 1965 film The Great Race. That film was nominated for 5 Oscars and was awarded 1 to Tregowith Edmund Brown for Best Sound Effects. Treg Brown was born November 4, 1899, in Gilbert, Minnesota.
Oh, no kidding.
If you've seen the movie, you'll know that it has cartoonish aspects to it, including the sounds. That's no accident. That's Treg Brown. You may not know his name, but you know his work. Treg created the sound effects for the Looney Tunes cartoons that we all know and love. If you've enjoyed a Roadrunner cartoon, you've enjoyed the work of Treg Brown.
I've enjoyed many.
Treg created those sound effects from a combination of natural sounds, homemade sounds, and early technical magic. They became the Warner Brothers Sound Library, which is still used today. There is a short video about Treg online in 2 parts. John, you may enjoy that Treg was a working musician who brought a musician's skills to film sound effects. Kenny, you may like the way that Treg was a tinkerer who found a way to make what he needed, drawing upon his cabinet of junk. Joe, there's a golf scene. Rookie, there's an old British gentleman for you to channel. And Reavers, the town of Gilbert, has a baseball field. The film Crash, Bang, Boom, The Wild Sounds of Treg Brown can be found on YouTube. It's
Really?
about 11 minutes total. There's a bit in part 2 where Star Wars sound designer Ben Burt breaks down how he modeled the sound of the speeder bike chase in Return of the Jedi on Treg's work in the Roadrunner cartoon Stop, Look, and Hasten. Who knew? Treg is also credited with discovering Mel Blanc. Where would Looney Tunes have been without him? Minnesotans deserve to know more about this Oscar-winning native son. Now, that's an
was his
offside
first name
correspondent. Well, his full name was, where did I see it? Tregoweth, Tregoweth, Tregoweth Edmund Brown.
Got it.
And he won an Oscar for
He
the film
is-
The Great Race.
Also credited with discovering Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
He's the
A
man.
man with 1,000 voices.
Yeah.
I've developed a theory. Many of my theories are worth what it costs you to listen to them. This one
Does it
may
have
fall
to-
under that category.
Joe, does it have to do with the hits of Johnny Cash?
Nope.
Okay. Good. Good.
We're all in agreement that we're a bit fatigued by our torn civic fabric.
Boy, I'll say.
And I would like the show to head in different directions. The torn civic fabric is getting us all worn down. We've done what we can by merely suggesting that the solution is more GLers have to run for office. Easier said than done. I've been on that personal quest for years, and I've met no success. One or two people have put their foot in the water to no avail. But I have a new theory on how people in this country might participate in repairing the torn civic fabric.
That's a mighty lofty goal at this point, Joe.
Cleanliness.
Explain.
Don't you always feel better when you're in an environment that's free of litter and clean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for about 6 months because I pay twice for the Sunday newspapers
Yeah.
because my guy doesn't show up. And I want to read the paper earlier than he shows up. So I'm going to mention the station. I go to a speedway. And it's generally, it needs some tidying up on the out.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yeah.
It needs some tidying. And what I began thinking about 6 months ago was, some enterprising high school senior or maybe a kid in college, and I've done the homework. I'm going to give it all to anybody that's listening that likes this idea. You put together a proposal, and you send it to the corporate office of Speedway. And you say, much like a lawn service appears once a week, you say, we will do the following once a week. My team of 3, I don't think you need more than 3. First, you send the corporate office videos of what the aprons look like and the surrounding lot and the stuff blown up against the fence, and you say, we really think we can tidy this up. And here's our fee once a week. If you need us more than once a week, we're available.
A little startup company.
A little company, and they visit I don't know how many speedways there are in the Twin Cities. John, would you look that up, please?
Sure.
How many speedways are there in the Twin Cities? I know they're all over the country.
134.
Really?
Well, it's my guess.
Oh, don't do that to me. I need to know the real number because it would have to be a number that would make it worthwhile for these kids to put together a proposal. They're not going to make any money doing 2 speedways.
No, you do a little startup. You got to give it a good name, too, not like Matthew's first failed venture for cutting grass, the mow and blow.
That didn't work.
No, didn't.
No.
People
Did you
got
want
the
the
wrong
U.S.
impression.
the U.S. number?
No, I want the Minnesota
Oh, the
number.
Minnesota number. I'm sorry.
No,
There's
I'm
three-
sorry. Actually, the Metro number, although there's no reason this outfit that I'm going to put together on behalf of some youth, there's no reason they couldn't do the whole state. They would have to have branch offices.
This says there's only one prominent speedway within the immediate Minneapolis-St. Paul area. But
Well,
that's obviously not correct.
That's completely wrong.
Because we have one next door.
Yeah.
They're all over the
Yep.
place.
Right.
There's more than one. Well,
Oh, you know what? Speedway. Never mind. They're talking about racetracks.
Thank you, John.
All right. I'll
How do
give
you
you.
redo that?
There are 3,365 Speedway gas stations across the U.S. Ohio has the largest number of Speedway locations with 541.
Okay, stop. Stop.
223 in Minnesota,
All right.
23 in the Twin Cities area.
There you go. You start with boy, I sometimes get sidetracked with you fellas,
Here's
don't
some
I?
fun Speedway facts.
I don't want them, Matt. Stop. Look at me. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
So there's 23 speedways in the metro, and you're going to propose to tidy them all up on a regular basis. I don't know how the fees would be structured. I don't know if the corporate office would go for it, but I'm not done yet. The point being is just a little bit at a time of tidying up our public places would make people feel better. I am so fatigued by current events that I've gone off the deep end coming up with ways that we might remedy some of our mutual angst about what's happening. And because we're all in agreement about the torn civic fabric, let's clean things up. All right? And I'm starting with Speedway. I'm sorry if you don't like that. That's where I'm starting. Speedway. And here's what you do, youngsters or anybody, and don't tell me this has already been done because I see no evidence. I've thought of this before when I pass a hotel or a gas station or anything. Mm-hmm. I've campaigned that schools should award letters on letter jackets for shoveling teams. I've come up with all kinds of stuff that people could be doing to keep busy and get them off their phone.
You have.
No one's paying attention.
No.
I am. I'm paying attention because I think this is a great idea. So I'm crunching numbers. And I'm trying to figure out how much we charge per location.
This isn't we. This is not for you to do.
No, this is definitely for me to do. And I've decided I'm only working 4 days a week. So 23 divided by 4 equals 5.75. Let's round that up to 5 or up to 6, okay? Mm-hmm. So we have 6. How much are we charging per location?
Can we not turn this into avarice?
Two employees, not 3. 2
All right.
employees working together. I'm going to say $200 per location. So 6 times 200, $1,200 a day times 4, 4,800 a week divided by 2. 2,400. Is that enough for one person to live on? 2,400 a week? I think it might be.
It is.
I think it might be.
But before you get ahead of yourself, can I lay it out a little further
Now
for
are you okay? You're going to bring me down. I can feel it.
No,
but go ahead.
no.
Go ahead.
I'm going to give hope to your plodding.
Okay.
Now, I'm basing this on, I've always read about a gas station chain in Texas that does gangbuster business based on their cleanliness. It's
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more than a gas station.
No, and Buc-ee's, by the way, is a prominent part of this book that John and I just finished by Carl Hiaasen, a novel called Fever Beach. And this wannabe group of bumbling white supremacists who are just sent up in great satire by Carl Hiaasen. They meet at Buc-ee's prior to an op. They got an op, They got to meet at Buc-ee's and get coffee and beef jerky.
You're going to make fun of me, but Buck, there's a business
I'm
model.
not going to make fun of you at all.
Well,
I will.
why would you break character? I'm kidding. But there's an entire business model. There's like a 40-minute piece on their business model. It's fascinating how they become destination driven.
It was founded in 1982 by Arch Beaver Alpin III.
Yeah.
It has a reputation for good food, huge locations, and super clean bathrooms, which I trust extends to the whole grounds. If they're going to bother to keep those bathrooms spick and span, they're also doing that to their property. Everything is bigger in Texas, including Buc-ee's. They have a 75,000 square foot facility off I-10. What town is that, I wonder? Whatever. The stores offer thousands of food. I don't care about that, including Texas barbecue. Everything there. They have homemade fudge, kolaches, beaver nuggets. That's what they drink or ate in Fever Beach. Jerky and fresh pastries. The logo is a beaver with a cap. It was inspired by Alpin's childhood. Beaver was Alpin's nickname as a kid. CBS News noted, and the mascot is related to a 1950s cartoon character called Bucky Beaver. So maybe this Alpin fellow had buck teeth or something.
That's a very popular hat and T-shirt. I see a lot of those. Yeah.
It just goes to show you there's hope. Okay, Buc-ee's has a beaver statue outside its stores, and patrons can get their picture taken with the mascot inside. So there, I'm basing my thinking on Buc-ee's. Why is Buc-ee's so popular? There's a love of Buc-ee's for a variety of reasons, depending on who you ask. But the top reasons for the fans of the franchise are the store's cleanliness. Hello?
Okay.
This is what I'm
Makes
talking
sense.
about.
Makes
and
sense.
5 will get you 10. That the people you're surrounded by in Buc-ee's are fairly uplifted by that.
Yeah.
They're maybe they're friendly.
Yeah.
All right, so the store's clean restrooms, the gas pumps, and locations. They have 100. They have 100 gas stations, and they love the food too. It's a world record holder. Buc-ee's has a distinction of the longest car wash in the world at 255 feet of conveyor, and the Seaverville, Tennessee location set the record for the largest convenience store in the world at 74,707 square feet before it lost the title to the new Luling, Texas Buc-ee's.
Wow.
The Luling, Texas Buc-ee's is now 75,000 square feet.
I have a young fella you guys all know when he went out on tour.
Yep.
They stopped at all the Buc-ee's. He came back regaling me with stories about how enormous and wonderful they were.
Yeah.
Now, I meant to print this because it was 13 pages, so I wanted to print it here, and I completely forgot to. But if you look up...
You're using them up quick here, buddy.
No, look up Speedway.
Yep.
And just go to the top of just find their Wikipedia page. Their corporate offices are in Irving, Texas, which means that those people have to be terribly familiar with Buc-ee's. They're Texas people. Why wouldn't they bring a semblance of that same kind of cleaning ideology to Speedways? Thus enters my high school senior with his well-thought-out proposal, and the first thing he's going to do is accompany his proposal with videos taken of various Speedway stores in the Twin Cities showing a less than tidy outside environment. These are outside people I'm talking about.
I know, and isn't that somewhat letting them off the hook, though, for them not agreeing to their civil contract?
I'm afraid that's what upper management would say. I think your business model is brilliant, and but I'm afraid what Chris just said, that the upper management, the board members are going to say, well, I don't want to spend blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Why don't we just force, and good luck with that.
I mean, force their own employees to do it?
Yeah. And
They don't employ that. They don't employ any outside attendants. Everything, they might only have 2 people at a time working even during crunch time.
Right, exactly. And that's why it ends up being messy and sloppy. That business model, though, that cleanliness, that's what drives, in my little hometown, 3 miles off the interstate, people exit and drive the 3 miles to get gas because they have a reputation and reviews all over the internet saying that their restrooms are the cleanest restrooms on 94 between Minneapolis and Fargo.
Is it Quick Trip?
No, it's an independently owned place, and the grounds and the inside and the restrooms are immaculate.
Is it like Super USA?
I think Quick Trip is going down this road.
Well, I was going to bring them up. But that is their business model, is cleanliness, and they have kids walking the grounds picking up garbage.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how this does work. When I drive back to Bismarck, there's a Love's in Valley City, which has the same kind of model. Everything's huge and everything's really clean and gorgeous. I automatically stop at Love's just because of that.
Now, take this thinking to just the country in general.
Yeah, this is where you and I might part ways.
Well, I obviously, but I'm the thinker and you're the complainer.
That's the perfect description.
Yeah.
You're
Well
right.
put.
Yes, I am.
So I'm talking about even in neighborhoods. It's probably already being done, but even in neighborhoods, the guy comes home from work, he parks his car, he sees a scrap of paper at the curb, he just picks it up. Everybody feels better about where they are if things are clean.
And to back up your point of view, I'm sure you've seen out in the rural areas, the next 3 miles of road are sponsored by somebody Boy Scout troop, and you see them out there picking up trash.
Okay, because we come in here every day, and short of offering the only answer we've come up with to the torn civic fabric is a political class that is more accurately representing the average Mr. and Mrs. American and their children. It is not a class of political activists. In Garage Logic's estimation, they are taking us down the wrong road. So the only thing we've offered is we need more GLers to run for office. Beyond that, we sit here and we come in every day and we say, "Oh, look at what happened here. Look what Walls just said, and look what happened here," and we're not getting anywhere. But there is one simple thing everyone could do: is be clean.
I love your approach, but I think it's too late.
I don't think it's daunting at all. I've even told people who occupy intersections looking for free money, I say, I said to a couple people, first of all, you really need a better sign. The sign is
marketing.
It's a crayon written on water-stained cardboard. How about a nice sign?
Yeah, you need a nice
Okay,
sign.
and two, why don't you advertise the fact that you're keeping that intersection clean?
This is my intersection.
This is my intersection. He's got an industrial garbage bag.
Well, they're broke, remember? They say they're broke anyway.
Go to Goodwill, get him a onesie, a jumpsuit, a mechanic's jumpsuit.
I think
I love that you're doing marketing for these people, Such. That's fantastic. That's great.
So he's got a paper bag. I don't care what, but he's not. You'll notice that where he's soliciting, it's tidy.
The Twin Cities has a reputation, and they have for years, for being a very clean city.
I dispute that with my whole heart.
People come from outside and they take a cab, or I guess now it would be Lyft or Uber, from the airport to downtown, and they marvel at how clean the ditches are.
I couldn't disagree more. I think it's a mess.
Yeah.
I see what you're angling for. You're trying to get an ad out of this.
How?
For what?
How
You
is
put
this-
together your event. No, start over. You've put together your event. Could be a golf tournament, whatever event you've just put together. But you need to advertise it. You need to have businesses reach out. You need a sign.
That's where
That's all the further you can go.
How can this possibly mend the fractured country? How can this... I think we all agree, both left and right, agree that a clean environment is awesome. So that's one thing we can rally around. How are we going to take that to a national level and fix this mess?
Boy, I'm almost channeling Barbara Flanagan here. Many of you are
I'm very
Sure,
familiar.
no,
Too
she is-
old to remember
Yeah.
Barbara Flanagan, but
She did a good job on it.
this was her bit as a columnist for the Minneapolis Star and Tribune. Let's have a nice sidewalk cafe. Let's clean up.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I don't claim that this can mend the torn fabric. I say it can begin to stitch it back together.
To heal.
You know what? I'm glad that you brought this up because in the op-ed page today, there's a couple of pieces that also want to mend the country. But after I read them, I felt like all it did was divide us more.
I didn't like any of that.
Yeah, I thought
didn't.
it was all BS.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm offering is so it's stupid. Well, it's not stupid. It's simple. It's almost childish, but it's not BS. You could talk to shrinks about this. There is an undeniable sense of contentment if your surroundings are clean.
Perfect example. The day after the riots that took down the 3rd and the Ghetto Cub there on Minnehaha and Lake and all of that, I grabbed some trash bags and some shovels, rakes, etc., went to that area to start cleaning up and was absolutely stunned that the cleanup was already in place and it was all by citizens. And I started talking to people. I talked to one couple that came from Rockford, Minnesota to help out.
I
And it
rest my case.
yeah, I think, you know what, now that I thought about that, I think you might be right.
But if I see a guy in the corner, I'm trying to get on to 280 here, and he's on Cretin, and he's got a garbage bag, I'm going to give him my empty Devani's trash. Because I'm going to think he's just asking
A
for
Cretin and
trash.
280 never meet.
Cretin in 94. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm going to think he's, hey, you got any trash you want to get her? And then maybe you give him a couple bucks.
But what's he going to do with it? He's going to walk a block and dump it.
Right. I don't need to know that.
Not if he's part of the Civic Repair Project. He gets a little badge. He gets.
So now you're asking for
good mugshot.
Now you're asking for government involvement
It's
with
like an
handouts.
Could be a
FDR
private company.
project.
Could be an expansion of your new company, your Speedway cleanup.
Say that again, John. John
It's
just
like an
nailed it.
FDR project from getting out of the Depression years.
No, I don't want this to
chicken
be
in every
a
pot?
works progress administration.
Let's build a cabin.
No, with a rock wall.
Yeah, and a bridge.
This is each individual American realizing that the world looks brighter if we're clean.
I see a panhandler captain.
I don't want you seeing that. I just want you
Stop
to
seeing things, Matthew.
stop seeing things.
I want a button that shuts everybody's mic off when we're 10 minutes past the break.
Well,
what is
Yes.
Do we have that?
keep your garage neat.
There it is.
It's simple.
Wow, what a segue.
I want you to be quiet.
And stop seeing things.
I want you to call Precision Door MN. They'll take care of the everyday garage door needs in addition to providing a new door if you need one. Precision Door serves Western Wisconsin, the entire metro. They take care of those daily problems with busted springs and what have you, but they also have new doors that fit every budget. The models of doors fit every budget. They send out a precision door designer. That consultation is free. And right now, if you get a new garage door from Precision Door, they're throwing in the motor that operates it. That's a value of more than $760. Book online at precisiondoormn.com. That's one word, precisiondoormn.com. Or call Precision Door at 612-263-6985.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Oh, I've been talking about the benefits of Seafoam's Bugs Be Gone and how we are always finding new things to use it for, and it's a miracle cure, and it might be voodoo because it doesn't make any sense that one product, water-based product, can be this effective. Listen to this email I got from Ben. I have an older Toyota pickup, and the back window had horrible water spots. I could not get rid of them. I tried everything. I just sprayed Bugs Be Gone on the window along with some elbow grease. The spots are gone. Love the product. Just giving you another application for that product and what it can solve. Thank you, Ben. That's amazing. I never would have thought of that, but that's how effective Bugs Be Gone is. And you got to buy the kit when you go into the store, the auto parts store, the Knack Hardware, big box, whatever. Buy all three products. First of all, get 2 Bugs Be Gone spray bottles. You're going to need them. Carry them with you in your car. Then get the Seafoam engine treatment. Then get the Deep Creep penetrating oil that literally, I said the word. I'm sorry about that. You should foghorn that. Yeah.
I got to get you for that one.
That absolutely, this stuff works better than any other product you'll find on the shelves. The Bugs Be Gone, I told you, I've been telling you, I'm going to keep telling you forever that it's amazing. The Deep Creep works better than anything. And the engine additive, what do I need to say about that? We've been using that since what, the 50s? Buy all three and give them as a gift. What the heck? You'll be loved for it. They're our own local company. They have a global reach, and we love them. Seafoam.
I have something in front of me called the American Customer Satisfaction Index. This plays right into my theory. Okay. What do you think is the most popular fast food restaurant in America?
Taco Bell.
McDonald's?
I would have to say McDonald's.
You're completely wrong. And why is it the most popular?
Okay, hold on. Let's do a deep dive here. The most popular.
It's got to be less expensive.
Is it Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A is the answer.
I was way off.
And here, can I take
Sundays.
a stab at why?
No.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, and I'll see if you're right.
I think
quit hearing things.
No, but I think it's because of the convenience. Well, obviously the quality is great, but I think it's the convenience. You'll see a long line for the drive-through. You're in and out in just a couple of minutes.
Because don't they run out to help you in the?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it clean?
Very clean.
Penny Lane.
Of fast food brands, Chick-fil-A notched the highest customer satisfaction score at 83. It also ranked highest out of chicken-focused fast food joints specifically. The chain has over 3,000 locations throughout the U.S. and Canada. It has now held the top spot for customer satisfaction among quick-service restaurants for 11 consecutive years.
Goodness.
Wow.
People enjoying the outdoor patio in Shoreview, Minnesota. That's a cut line. There's a picture of people enjoying the thing. In the overall...
The hell was that?
That was the chicken
That was
thing.
their tagline.
Really?
Yes.
In the overall fast food scoring, there was a two-way tie for second place. Panda Express, which I've never heard of.
Very good.
Very popular.
What is it?
I like it's. Isn't it?
It's to go. It's like a Leanne Chen, but you can get whatever sample.
Panda Express and Starbucks received scores of 80. Starbucks posted a 4% jump in customer satisfaction year after year. Arby's, Panera Bread, Papa John's, and Pizza Hut had scores of 79. Here's something for you, boys.
Oh.
What fast food brand has the lowest customer satisfaction score in the study?
In-N-Out Burger.
Popeyes?
McDonald's. Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
Why?
Well, that's where you see all the fights on social media.
I'm looking
I
it
didn't
up.
get my fries.
McDonald's recently debuted McCrispy strips. What does that have to do?
They're really good chicken strips. Because you know why? Because Chick-fil-A has forced fast food places to up their chicken game and not just get the parts. Remember that one? What kind of parts? Well, parts is parts. I think that was a Wendy's
All I'm
commercial.
telling you is, cleaner the better.
Yep.
The more success.
That Chick-fil-A in Shoreview is my home base Chick-fil-A. When I'm in town staying in Roseville, I always run up to Lexington. It's Lexington and 694,
Yep.
just north of Schoonover Body Works.
Do you tell them to hold the bun?
We go back to Texas. Texas Roadhouse tied for first with Longhorn Steakhouse for top customer satisfaction for sit-down restaurants.
Texas Steakhouse is really good.
Texas Roadhouse.
Or Roadhouse, I mean.
Where's Cracker Barrel fit
Well,
in?
two brands, Applebee's and Cracker Barrel, scored 80 for customer satisfaction out of 100. That's not bad. American Satisfaction Customer Industry Director of Research Emeritus Forrest Morgeson said in a statement that restaurants can't simply rely on traditional playbooks anymore. The brands that succeed will be the ones that adapt quickly to shifting tastes without compromising consistency or experience, and I would add, or cleanliness.
Which is why places like White Castle would add cheese fries.
I mean, you can drive by some places and you're just saying to yourself, I'm never stopping there.
Yes. Well, especially if you're with
just
your
the vibe. The
If
vibe
you've got
is wrong.
kids,
If I'm hungry for it.
Yeah, unless it's 3 a.m. and you're on the way home, then you'll stop anywhere.
Right. You see that open sign, you're good.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else here. Okay. Well,
was White Castle on there that you saw
I'm not seeing it.
They closed the White Castle by me
in
about
Andover?
2 months ago.
Really?
Yep. It was on Main Street.
Now, the chief sent us something regarding our fascination with our first Chief Justice yesterday, John Jay.
What do you want to know?
We read a quote from John Jay as follows: "No human society has ever been able to maintain both order and freedom, both cohesiveness and liberty, apart from the moral precepts of the Christian religion. Should our republic," note he didn't say democracy, "should our republic ever forget this fundamental precept of governance, this great experiment will then be surely doomed." And I'm trying to save the great experiment by cleaning up soda cans. The chief said, "I've had a busy season of life the past couple of years, so I apologize for the extended silence. As atonement for my absence, I've prepared today's show. So cue up Sidekick in a can and let the boys relax
Let's
a while."
go. Come on.
Yesterday's quote from John Jay reinforced that nothing we're experiencing in terms of order and freedom is new. You wondered what was that?
You're kidding.
No, I don't want to hear that when I'm
I thought
reading.
you said sidekick
I
in a
know, but I
can.
don't want to hear it when I'm reading this.
Gotcha.
You wondered what societies or civilizations John was thinking of, John Jay, when he penned his statement. But to oversimplify the answer, it could be any one that's come before us. That's why we're not part of the British Empire, the Mongols, Romans, Ottomans, or Ming Dynasty. A lot of people, by the way, thought Jay was referring to the French Revolution. Couldn't hold itself together, right? All societies have lost the balance between order and freedom as it manifested in external conquest of insurrection or instability from within. To achieve an outcome of balanced order and freedom, we must understand the input variables. To obtain order, law and justice is needed. To obtain freedom, choices must be available. I would argue that justice and choices are naturally guided by moral clarity. The ultimate, I love it when I'm reading emails from people who contribute what the staff doesn't.
Thank God for them, because otherwise we'd never get the information.
You're right.
Yeah.
Do you have to be so hurtful?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Some of us spend hours getting ready for
The
this.
ultimate question then becomes, I'm just having fun with the chief here.
It hurts.
The ultimate, you're too easily hurt. The ultimate question then becomes, where do we get moral clarity and how do we implement it? To that, I yield the rest of my time to much smarter men, starting with John Adams, followed by George Washington. John Adams, signer of Declaration and second president of the U.S., said, "It is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. The only foundation of a free constitution is pure virtue." We have no government armed with power capable of contending with human passions unbridled by morality and religion. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Isn't that something? The moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not as sacred as the laws of God, and there is not a force of law and public justice to protect it, anarchy and tyranny commence. If thou shalt not covet and thou shalt not steal were not commandments of heaven, they must be made inviolable precepts in every society before it can be civilized or made free. That's why our property rights are so enshrined in this country. Here's from George Washington's farewell address. Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. Let it simply be asked, where is the security for property, for reputation, for life, if the sense of religious obligation desert the oaths, which are the instruments of investigation in courts of justice? And let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion. Whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on the minds of peculiar structure, reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle. And that chief says, these guys were pretty good, right? He puts it right there. So,
All right, good.
These guys were pretty good. And then he says, what's coming up on the ride? Yeah.
Such, it's really funny that George Washington had Mike. The whole time you were reading the John Adams piece, I'm having this question about religion. George Washington nailed it. Whatever may be concealed to the influence of a refined education on minds of a peculiar structure, reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principles. So it's not, I'm seeing that as not, you have to go to church, you have to go to Bible study, you have to worship. You just have to have a moral code, which is taught in the church.
And without reading the quotes of these forebears, we've been discussing the degradation of moral and ethical integrity in the country. And these fellows saw it 250 years ago.
Yeah.
A guy should print that out and keep it around.
I got it. I'm keeping John Jay's quote, too.
They're both very good.
I think those remarks are something we're not likely to hear from a current president.
No, or have we heard that from any president in the last 50 years?
I don't think anything quite that eloquent.
No.
I don't think anything quite that.
Maybe Jimmy Carter, but I was a kid then, so I can't confirm.
This is from Jim Dudley. Words mean things, as you have said, and I completely agree. When we see in the news and on the legacy media and everywhere is the use of the word democracy. Democracy is used constantly, especially by senators and representatives of our governance, especially on the DFL or left side. We are not a democracy. Democracy is to amount to socialism and communism. Under a democracy, the minority must bend to the will of the majority, no matter what the cost. John Jay said in your quote, anytime you want to use it said republic in the quote. Anytime you want to use the word democracy, because we've been kind of spoon-fed the last 20 years, you need to use the word republic instead. We are in the country of common sense, and we know that we are a republic for which it stands. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's not tremendous meaningful differences between the word republic and democracy, but there is one crucial thing. We are not majority rule. Yeah. Majority rule can result in a great deal of problems.
I have always thought we were a representative democracy also, besides a republic. I thought that was the way the United States...
What does that mean?
That means you elect people to the people elect representatives to represent them. Which is what
Joe,
we do. I mean,
go back to the "we are not a majority rule" quote. Let's talk about that a second.
Let me give you the definition first.
Yeah.
Is the United States a democracy or a republic? The short answer is that democracy and republic are frequently used to mean the same thing: a government in which the people vote for their leaders. This was the important distinction at the time of the founding of the United States, in direct contrast with the rule of a king or monarchy. In part because that context was clear to everyone involved in the American Revolution, democracy and public were used interchangeably in the late 1700s. Both words meant the power to govern was held by the people rather than a monarch. At the same time, it's true that there is nuance and difference between these words according to their historical use and etymology. Democracy comes from the Greek roots meaning rule by the people, and the most basic understanding of the word's original meaning refers to direct democracy as in ancient Greece. In a direct democracy, the people vote directly against or in favor of decisions, policies, laws, etc. Republic comes from the Latin roots meaning public good or public affair, used in ancient Rome to mean simply state or country, with reference to the representative democracy of the Roman public. The Roman Republic. The elected representatives in Congress are a contemporary example of this kind of government. Note that both direct democracies and representative democracies are considered democracies. They are both government by the people.
That was too much. You bowled me over.
So you could call it either, basically.
Yes.
But it's been driving. Has it been driving you guys crazy? It's been driving me crazy for years that everybody says democracy and not a republic.
And I've always thought that's what it was. In
the email, Joe, though, he said a democracy is majority ruling over the people. Isn't that what we have here in Minnesota for the last number of years?
No, we have an electoral college that prevents such a thing.
Okay.
We have...
For what it's worth, official government website, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, first sentence, United States is a representative democracy.
Okay. I don't have any trouble with that. The words are so closely aligned.
Yeah.
You brought this up and said that a couple of days ago, and I really had to bite my tongue because I disagreed so much with you. I guess I am coming around to your point now.
Well... Why don't we take a break and bring in the newsman?
Let's lighten her up here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
No, we're not going to lighten it up. We're bringing the newsman in.
It's going to be worse.
Oh, no.
Let's talk about my friends at North American Banking Company, Joe. You know what? They've been at it since 1998. When they first started North American Banking Company in 1998, they had one promise, and that was banking done differently. And they made a promise to deliver that better banking experience for their customers. where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since then, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. You see, North American Banking Company invests in the people, businesses, and organizations that make the Twin Cities a great place to live. And you get that feeling anytime that you walk into any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. Whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about, my friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So your first step can be checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
I want to say it like they say it. We are nuts. Presents the Garage Logic podcast at the 51st MSRA Back to the 50s weekend at the State Fairgrounds. We're going to be there 2 days, Friday. 2 days from now, I should say. And it's going to be fantastic. We're talking over 10,000 pre-64 hot rods and customs, 200 vendors inside and out, a swap meet, the whole deal. And yeah, we're going to be there on Friday recording a podcast right around noon at O'Gara's. They're on the corner of Dan Patch and Cosgrove. Get there early on Saturday because there's going to be a flyover at 11. That's always awesome. Church is Sunday morning. The big event that we're excited about is the Great Race that kicks off from the fairgrounds on Saturday. If you did not hear yesterday's GL podcast, please look it up and enjoy it. We talked with the race director. That was fun. In that conversation, he brought up the oldest vehicle. Joe, help me out. A 1918 American LaFrance, right?
Chain driven.
Yeah, and it looks like something that would have turned laps at Indianapolis 500 in the teens. It's really cool, and we might actually get a chance to talk to the owner, Jay, who's been doing this course for years with really funky automobiles. He says he's going to skip the pre-race on Friday, and he's going to try to find us. So hopefully we're going to have them there. The Great Race, it's for cars 74 and older. It's a week-long endurance type of thing with checkpoints. It finally ends up in South Carolina, right, Joe?
Yes.
North
Carolina.
North Carolina.
I was sad yesterday that I wasn't here for the interview because I thought I had a really good question about the race. And I was going to ask him, when you pass people, do you give them the thumbs up and when you get to your new location?
Anyway, please join us at O'Gara's. The GL podcast brought to us by We Are Nuts will be there the 20th at noon for the 51st annual MSRA Back to the 50s weekend.
Here's John Heidt in his newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news brought to you by North American Banking Company. I did go down a little bit of a Buc-ee's hole there after you talked about him, Joe.
Yeah.
I'd like to offer some more things for you for
Yep.
Buc-ee's. The new Braunfels, Texas store.
Yeah.
I found a news story from 2012 right after it opened.
Yep.
It had been open 6 months, and it was voted the cleanest restroom in America.
Yep.
And I don't think we appreciate the size of these places from what I've heard. This Buc-ee's has 83 toilets and a cleaning crew that works 24 hours a day.
There's your key.
Wow.
Toilets.
There's your key.
And just more on the size, they have 60 fuel pumps, 1,000 parking spaces, and it's on 18 acres of land.
Let's clean up this country. We'll all feel better.
There you go.
Plus, don't they usually on average generate about $28 billion in,
I hope so.
in revenue every
Guy
year?
should be rewarded for this.
Yeah. And the guy, the fellow who started it that you talked about,
Beaver.
Beaver, the quote from him in the story was, you know what, you can have all the gold toilets in the world you want. If you don't clean them, all you got is dirty gold toilets.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
One hell of a motto.
It's
That's
estimated
it.
that a Buc-ee's average store generates between $50 and $100 million annually.
The partitions in the toilets, do they go all the way to the ground?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's going on there?
My idea really didn't have much to do with bathrooms, although that would be included
keeping
in
them
the...
clean.
I'm
Yeah.
particular
Hey,
about
buddy, I need some
things.
paper.
Yeah.
Let's throw it over the top.
In news, the man, we had this story, who was shot by Brooklyn Center police after coming out of a home with a running chainsaw,
Yeah.
is now facing criminal charges.
I hope so.
23-year-old Damone Constance Jr. faces 2 counts of second-degree assault and 2 counts of threat of violence. If you haven't heard about this, Brooklyn Park officers had responded to a home in the 6400 block of Humboldt Avenue North, a report of a domestic incident last Wednesday. According to the complaint, officers arrested a woman after learning she tried to stab her son, identified as Constance. After his mother was arrested, Constance went back inside and locked the door. As he continued to speak with officers, they saw him arming himself with a chainsaw. Officers retreated and told him to drop it, but he started the chainsaw and came out of the house. They shot pepper balls at Constance, who didn't drop the chainsaw, leading officers to shoot him with their firearms. Constance is still in the hospital and now has been charged. A candlelight vigil will be held on the steps of the Capitol to remember Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark at 8 o'clock this evening. There, a memorial, including cards and signs, continues to grow. The Hortmans killed at their home early Saturday morning in what prosecutors say was a politically targeted attack. On Tuesday, a procession was held while their bodies were moved to a funeral home in Minneapolis. The public is invited to attend the vigil and to not only pray for the healing of the Hortman children, but also for State Senator John Huffman and his wife Yvette, who continue to recover after being wounded in Saturday's shootings. The suspected shooter, Vance Belter, is in federal custody, facing both federal and state charges. Meanwhile, as we mentioned earlier, a person broke into House Speaker Hortman's home days after she and her husband were shot there. The break-in happened overnight, but authorities weren't alerted until about 8 o'clock this morning. According to the Brooklyn Park Police Department, the windows of the home were boarded up with plywood after investigators had processed the scene. One of those boards in the back of the house had been pried off and the window was broken. Police say the house appeared to have been searched, but family members had removed items of value prior to the burglary. Family went back to the home today and didn't believe anything was missing. That burglary remains under investigation.
What kind of individual does that?
Bad guy.
Okay. Unclean.
The Rochester Police Department is investigating 5 suspected overdose deaths in the past week. According to police, the first 3 happened on June 17th when police discovered 2 deceased females and 1 deceased male inside an apartment.
That's yesterday.
Yes.
Wow.
On June 13th, officers were dispatched to a residence on a report of a male not breathing. That person also died. And on that same day, about 5 hours before that, a deceased male was located in another apartment building. A preliminary investigation indicates narcotics containing fentanyl may have been a contributing factor in the deaths. They still haven't arrested anyone, and they are looking for information. Rochester Police says if you'd like to share information on the overdoses or the distribution of illegal narcotics, contact the Rochester Police Department. And a former dean at St. Catherine's University has now been sentenced to 3 years of probation after pleading guilty to embezzling money from the school. 55-year-old Laura Jean Farrow pleaded guilty to theft by swindle in April. 5 other counts of theft by swindle were dismissed at sentencing. She was sentenced to serve 3 days in jail, but had credit for 3 days already served. If she successfully finishes up her probation, her felony conviction will be changed to a misdemeanor. Farrow must pay $25,000 in restitution, according to court documents.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Check this out. So she swipes about $500,000. She's going to jail for 3 days. She's going to be on probation, and she's got to pay back $25,000.
I'd like to sign up for that program.
Okay. I'll get in line.
And it's not a felony.
And it's a misdemeanor.
And didn't she try to blame somebody else for this?
Yep, and following the complaint from the school, St. Paul police investigated contracts that Farrow entered into with Juan Ramon Bruce during her time as dean.
Juan.
Remember, they were emails.
Wow.
Linking the two together romantically.
Oh, I
So
see.
the contracts then went to the fellow she was romantically involved with, something that violated the university's conflict of interest policies. After Farrow left her position, school leaders found that they were missing about $400,000. Why don't we?
Okay.
Define romantically linked. Are we talking cannon apricots here?
I would imagine so. But John, and she doesn't have to account for the $400,000.
$25,000, Joe. She must pay $25,000 in restitution.
Let's go into business together.
I think forget this
cleaning business.
Forget this cleaning idea.
We're done.
Just start stealing money from schools.
So she comes out $375,000 ahead, right? If my math is correct.
That's right. And then Romeo's got the rest of it, or does he? Is
Juan?
Does Juan? Did he get
I
charged?
don't know if he got.
I don't think he got charged, did he? As I
I'll be
recall.
damned.
One is gone.
Yeah.
What? Why don't we take a quick break here? And I believe we're going to hear from Mr. Mikulski.
Thank you, Mr. Height. Hey, GLers, if you're looking for a ray of hope, and look no further than Minnesota's Freemasons. There's more than 8,000 Freemasons throughout Minnesota. They're working together to make the world a better place by focusing on the core values of friendship, personal development, helping those in need, and mentoring the next generation. The kind of stuff we're talking about here on Garage Logic. In that spirit, Minnesota's Mason launched Civility School. Civility School is a one-day session where high school students learn about manners and etiquette. Pretty good. More importantly, students learn how the right behavior around others can actually help them grow and prosper personally. And many students from all over the metro have already attended. In the coming years, Civility School will be expanding with several sessions throughout Minnesota. Just another example of Freemasonry at work. If you'd like to learn more about Freemasonry and the Civility School, call 952-948-6700, or better yet, go to the website mnfreemasons.org.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
I got the word from Larry at Harmony Spirits this morning. A brand new drink down in Harmony Spirits. How
What do
about
you
this?
got?
You
What
guys
do
are
you
going to have
got?
to help me. You guys are going to have to help me. What is boba? B-O-B-A. Do you guys know what that is?
I have
don't know
no
what that
idea.
is.
But this looks really good. This week we have a boba drink. It's passion fruit.
Bubble up?
No, B-O-B-A.
Oh,
Mango boba. It's happiness in a glass. It looks really, really good because 'tis the season.
Yeah, it really is.
It's late spring
I think
/ summer.
it is.
But here's the neat thing. Go to the Harmony Spirits Facebook page, as I am right now. They have a summer concert series going right now, including June 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. The Paperclips,
That's tomorrow.
a Minneapolis-based trombone quartet focused on the rhythms and history of classic Motown and its roots in Black American music. They call it the Back Alley Jam right there at Harmony Spirits. That sounds really cool. So if you're in the area, stop by. And it's also National Bourbon Day, Joe Souchere. Did you know that?
I did not.
Today is?
Today is. So you know
I
what?
can get away with one on Wednesday then.
when you can get away with
I
one.
gotta try this.
But Harmony Spirits, it's really cool. If you haven't been down there, swing by if you're in the area. It's a really cool little stop, and you can get the little to-go mixes. You know, if you're not in the mood at the time to have a cocktail, if you're on the road, then just swing by and check out their summer menu. They've got their signature drinks like the blackberry lemonade, the cherry blossom. They do all sorts of neat things down there in Harmony, Minnesota, and it doesn't matter what you might be in the mood for, whether it's vodka, gin, rum, the
Jim?
bourbon, gin.
Gin.
Yeah.
You said Jim.
Did I say Jim?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
Jim,
mean-
if you're in the area,
Do you mean
stop by.
James or the place you go to play basketball?
Jim.
But you can stop by, say hi to Larry and Damon and the entire Harmony Spirits crew. But the biggest thing that you can do for them is go into your local liquor store and ask for the Harmony brand by name. That is really how they're going
Yeah.
to continue to grow. So stop in and say hi to the crew and tell them that you heard about them right here on the Garage Logic podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Boba is tea. It's the same as bubble tea.
I'll be damned.
Also, it's N.A.
Boba is the chewy tapioca pearls that are the hallmark of bubble tea. So, for what that's worth.
John, I'll find out if they're going to distribute that. That
tea.
seems
I'm
neat.
not a tea. Tea's overrated.
Yeah, but it's on ice. It's a summertime drink.
It's a tea.
Like a nice tea.
Passion fruit.
Tea on ice, you know.
Okay.
Iced tea.
Mr. Mixologist Joe Souchere
Yes.
over here.
In news, this just breaking, I might as well read it to you off my watch. The Fed made no change to interest rates today, saying economic uncertainty has diminished but remains elevated because of the confusion about tariffs.
Well, Josh had a detailed report about that, and his tone might be
I
changed.
bet Josh wasn't too happy.
No. Well, he didn't know about it because it just happened now. But
But he was calling it, right?
oof, yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Supreme Court today upholding a Tennessee law restricting gender transition care for minors. The 6-3 ruling likely to have a broad impact as 24 other states have already enacted laws similar to the one in Tennessee, which bars gender transition surgery, puberty blockers, and hormone therapy. Those laws now look set to survive similar legal challenges. The ruling does not affect states that do not have such bans. The court, in an opinion authored by Chief Justice John Roberts, concluded the Tennessee law does not constitute a form of sex discrimination that would violate the 14th Amendment. Trans rights activists say that a ruling allowing bans on care for trans minors could pave the way for similar restrictions aimed at adults. President Trump called on Iran to unconditionally surrender yesterday, saying the U.S. knows the location of its leader in hiding, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but will not target him at this time. Khamenei rejected Trump's call to surrender, saying any American military action would come at a steep cost. He warned the Americans should know that any U.S. military intervention will undoubtedly be accompanied by irreparable damage. The U.S. has not formally entered Israel's 6-day-long war with Iran, although the military has relocated assets to the Middle East. Since Friday, Israel says it's achieved air superiority over Tehran and destroyed 1/3 of that country's ballistic missile arsenal.
You know, if you were at a Buc-ee's and the 12-year-old and the 9-year-old had to go to the bathroom and you say, okay, I'm going to get some water and some... You might never see each other again.
Right, you got 83 to choose from.
How do you find each other?
I don't know.
Well, that's where we differ because I'm so paranoid. I don't let them go to the bathroom.
Well, that's why I gave
themselves.
the ages as 12 and 9. Now, even 9 might be a little young to go by yourself.
Mine are 13 and 10, and they still ain't going in there by themselves.
Yeah.
President Trump's tax cuts package would increase deficits by $2.8 trillion over the next decade after including other economic effects. That, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan CBO and the Joint Committee on Taxation found in the report that factors expected debt service costs and finds that the bill would increase interest rates and boost interest payments on the baseline projection of federal debt by $441 billion. May was a banner month in the history of streaming. According to Nielsen's measurement of televisions in the U.S., broadcast and cable viewing combined to make up 44.2% of all TV watched, and streaming surpassed that with 44.8% of all viewing in the United States. Nielsen notes that free services have contributed significantly to the uptick in streaming since 2021. Go ahead, Chris. With YouTube jumping 120% over the 4 years and regularly charting as the most used streaming platform. In May, YouTube was the source of 12.5% of all TV viewership measured by Nielsen. Even smaller platforms are having a footprint. Last month, Nielsen recorded that Pluto TV, Roku Channel, and Tubi made up 5.7% of viewing, outpacing any individual broadcaster.
I will say this about that. I think that streaming is so popular, they're grinding out films too fast. They're grinding out series too fast. I've encountered maybe 3 clunkers out of the last 5 efforts to watch something and didn't give it past the first episode.
Same here, Joe. Absolutely. Yeah.
The man who allegedly
Maybe
killed
you're
his...
just watching the wrong shows.
No, I mean, there's so many to choose from, and you try to pick your best and do a little homework and read about them, and then you turn them on, and they're just, sorry.
I regularly unsubscribe, and I just signed up for Netflix again so I could watch this Shane Gillis series called Tires. Season 2 is out, and so far I've smiled a few times, but it wasn't as funny as everybody has sold it as being.
I tried to watch something called The Agency because I love CIA stuff.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Barely got, I don't think we finished episode number 1. See you later.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I didn't get what was going on. And if I can't get what's going on, I don't want to watch it.
Right. That's
The
a
man
good
who
plan.
Isn't it?
Good plan,
Yeah.
The man who allegedly killed his neighbors at a California nudist resort last August reportedly did so over a hot dog.
What?
A wiener?
Is that a euphemism, John?
Well, I think a real hot dog. And
A guy killed somebody for a hot dog?
Yeah, 62-year-old Michael Sparks allegedly killed 79-year-old Daniel Menard and 73-year-old Stephanie Menard in August of 2024. Human remains were found under Sparks' home at the Olive Dell Ranch nudist resort, according to investigators.
You ain't going there because of ranch.
No.
Right.
Those
All your nudist things cannot have ranch in it.
Don't put
or
the word
city.
ranch.
The remains were later determined to belong to Daniel and Stephanie Menard, and Sparks was charged in the couple's murder.
Oh.
Sparks and the Menards did not get along.
Apparently not.
No kidding.
But as detailed in a court hearing this week, the final straw was a hot dog. A fellow inmate at the West Valley Detention Center reported to authorities that Sparks admitted to the killings and disclosed that he brutally beat the couple with a rake, a hoe, and a hammer.
How did he know when to switch?
According to Redlands police
It's
detective
morbid, but
Tom and
Was it a nudist camp during the murder?
I
Doesn't
think
say.
it's I saw two stories. Neither one said they're at a camp. I did see pictures of the house, though. It just looked like a residential area.
But it was a nudist. They're nudist camp patrons.
Apparently,
You didn't
yes.
see any giant naked Germans in the background?
what is nudist camp couch etiquette? How do you know when
Couch etiquette?
Yeah, when you just sit or do you request
I don't
something,
think they have couches.
Okay.
They're Porky Pigging it.
Yeah.
I don't think they worry about that, to be honest with you. It's
You
not
know
like
why?
I
Well,
know.
I tell you
Do
what,
know
I
why?
would.
What are they?
Nude.
No. What's the theme today?
They're clean.
They're clean.
Yeah.
Clean. The other inmate said Mr. Sparks told him the incident started over a hot dog that Daniel Menard had purchased for him. The detective Thomas Williams said Mr. Sparks felt the hot dog was a jab at him, making him feel like he was worth only $1
Well,
hot
maybe
dog.
he thought he was, the swimsuit area. Maybe he got him a short hot dog.
Hey, shorty.
Give me half a bun.
Yeah, those cocktail wieners.
Oh, that is an insult.
Yeah.
Detective Williams also said he admitted to drowning the Menard's dog, Cuddles.
what did the
in a
dog do?
sink.
Dog's name was Cuddles.
That's
What
where
did
I
the dog
draw
do?
the line.
Jeez.
He was
He
going
gave
to the
that dog
cops.
swimming lessons, didn't he?
Additionally, Sparks allegedly admitted to the killings in text messages. When a former coworker checked in on him and the search at Olive Dell, he confirmed to her that he was the subject of the search and that he planned on killing himself that day. Prosecutors say Sparks tried that, but his gun jammed. He allegedly wrote, "Chopped up my neighbors, didn't know what I had it in me." Snapped in capital letters.
But let's try to establish something here. What role does the nudist resort have in this? This doesn't sound.
I think, from what I'm reading, I think he owned the nudist resort.
And it said, the lead to the story said killed his neighbors at a California nudist resort. So they must
under
live.
Sparks' home at the Olive Dell Ranch nudist resort.
Yeah.
So that he was on the property. He lived on the property.
This reminds me, by the way, I'm not registered with the state or anything, but the Jackass Ranch here is it's a nudist ranch.
Oh, really?
If you're,
Okay.
if that's a thing.
Yikes.
Not unless if your old Mango's flying by though and looking in the windows on his 4x4.
Be warned. Dad shows up in the Ranger from time to time looking around. So.
Just checking on the firewood here.
But the good thing is he's not good at the camera phone, so you don't have to worry about that.
All right, John, that's fine. Thank you.
Checking on the firewood, huh? Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, now.
Let's talk about the Garage Logic participation in the Twin Cities Savers online summer auction. It begins this Friday, June 20th. And
What are we bidding on?
Many items, Joe. And it runs through Thursday, June 26th. Just go to garagelogic.com and
Do I just call the show?
Nope. You go to the website, garagelogic.com, and you enter the keyword auction where you can save up to 70% off all retail prices. It's tens of thousands of dollars in items up for grabs, including a zero-turn lawnmower, string trimmer, and leaf blower from our friends at Tri-State Bobcat, e-bikes and a generator from EcoFun Motorsports, an airport hotel stay at the Intercontinental for your next getaway, golf simulators for year-round play, garage storage systems from Gator Magnetics, compass, cart, and rack system, a 40-foot shipping container. Yeah, really.
But to live in.
Yeah, you can if you want to. It's your container. Do whatever you want with it.
Would they deliver it?
I would
Joe.
assume so.
They are perfect for storing automobiles.
Yeah.
They're the right size, and mice cannot get in.
But you just need
or
a
rain.
place to put it.
Right.
I put it in the backyard.
I could
Or-
put it up at the Jackass Ranch.
There you could.
If
put it
you
here.
have an excessive amount of mulch, maybe you could fill that thing up.
Save the mulch.
I am going to bury mine and then turn it into, that's going to be my bug out place.
Oh.
And this is pretty cool, too, because I've spent many times as a youth at Camp Dells, and there's a family getaway to Camp Dells. So there's all available
Dang.
at the Twin Cities Savers Summer Online Auction starting this Friday, June 20th, running through Thursday, June 26th. Go to GarageLogic.com for more details.
Truth, justice, and the suture.
Bill Stein reported from Aiken that there were about 10 people that showed up for the No Kings protest.
Yeah.
Another note from Dave Downing regarding the John Jay quote. And he, again, cites what the chief did earlier. This is from President John Adams in 1798, writing to the Massachusetts militia. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, which links us to another issue in the news, no kings, Downing writes. No king should be something that the left and the right can agree on. As a nation, we declared no kings 250 years ago. And to ensure that we remained king-free, our founders gave us the Second Amendment. So if they have the ability to reason, those no kings protesters should be staunch supporters of our right to bear arms. And they should own guns so they are prepared to serve in the militia should a would-be king appear on the scene. How can anyone with a fear of a king want to disarm people? It makes no sense. That's a good point. I just noted that as a good point.
Oh, good point.
Only because now the Lymans have made it. They're back in Mpumalanga, South Africa, the province, Marloth Park, on this day.
Joe, today is June 18th.
In 1934, Congress passed the Indian Reorganization Act, which allowed Native Americans to govern themselves on a tribal basis, to manage natural resources on reservations, and to incorporate as a tribe to facilitate business ventures. I'm sorry. That was 1934. Why does this jump all over?
I think it was 1834. I think that's a typo, Joe.
Okay, 1834. On this day,
June 18th.
in 1847, William Willem received the first known citizenship papers granted in Minnesota. An English-born building contractor in Stillwater, Willem also built the first lime kiln in the state that year.
I don't like the name Willem.
Willem.
It's like William, but it's not.
Right, it's missing an A.
Right.
On this day,
Jesus, June 18th.
Willem
in
Dafoe.
1855, St. Mary's Falls Canal opened at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It connected Lake Superior to Lake Huron and the lower Great Lakes, eventually permitting the mass transport of wheat, coal, and iron ore from Minnesota to Point East.
Isn't that where Lou Nanny learned to skate?
Yes. And Phil Esposito, quite a few boys came from the Sioux.
Yeah.
On this day,
June 1-8.
in 1892, little Mamie Schwartz was kidnapped in St. Paul. Her disappearance caused a sensation, with the legislature offering $500 for her return. The police found her the next year in Superior, Wisconsin. I can only conclude that that must mean they found her alive, because it doesn't say. I wonder why they called her Little Mamie Schwartz. Maybe she was a little teeny
Small,
person.
petite, yeah. a little-
On this day,
On June 18th.
in 1893, the Mesabi Range towns of Virginia, Merritt, and Mountain Iron were destroyed in a forest fire. And on this day,
On June 18th.
in 1939, wow, a tornado killed 9 and injured 222 people in the Anoka area. Boy, that was a big storm, huh?
Must have been a whopper.
On this day,
On June 18th.
in 1988, Minnesota's Two-Spirit community held its first annual Two-Spirit International Gathering, also referred to as the Basket and the Bow. The events took place at the Gay 90s and the American Indian Center. And on this day in sports disappointment history,
June 18th.
in 1955, now this fits the bill. Bloomington gardener Paul Gerhardt barricaded his land with tractors to prevent groundbreaking. I can only imagine that meant groundbreaking of what we came to know as Metropolitan Stadium. On this day,
June
in 1999, Alonzo Newby was fired for his refusal to cooperate in the Gopher investigation. That would have been the
Gangelhoff.
whole clam deal and the whole thing there.
Term paper.
So thank you very much, GLers.
Speaking of Buc-ee's, where are you going there, Trucker Bear?
I'm going to Toronto Club.
Do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, because on that YouTube channel, you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. And you can also see full segments. There's video shorts. There's also behind-the-scenes footage, but it's all there for you. Just hit subscribe and join the thousands of subscribers on the Garage Logic YouTube channel.
And don't forget, we're going to be out at the Minnesota State Fair for the car show brought to us by
We Are Nuts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And follow us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up right now at garagelogic.com. Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again here in Garage Logic, and now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh, and he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice. And he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, our Twins, 9 losses in the last 11 games. But I also know right now it's Fed Day, and the markets are eagerly awaiting to hear from Jay Powell, aren't they?
Everybody's eagerly awaiting to hear from Jay Powell. If I started talking about my favorite Twins and 9 losses in 11 games, or the last 11 games, I would almost feel like it's watching the market with the extra volatility this year, or watching the market for most of the month of April after Liberation Day. It was day in, day out with the market selling back, just worried about inflation and how with these punitive tariffs. And I am not a tariff guy. If you would listen to me during that month, I would continue to recount the stupidity of those punitive tariffs and how I'm definitely not a fan of overly stupid decisions. And that was one of them by the administration. Now, whether the tariffs would increase inflation, well, so far, the numbers show not yet, at least. Not yet, at least. Inflation has still been trending down and not been trending up. Now, of course, that could change a little bit because during the month of April, as a matter of fact, throughout most of this year, the price of oil, which is a major component of inflation, has been coming down. What has made inflation still sticky is the price of housing, and in particular, mortgage-adjusted rents, and that constitutes almost a third of the CPI index, and then add in the cost of insurance, both car insurance and property and casualty insurance and health insurance costs continuing to go up, and you've got a good 40% plus of the CPI covered between housing and insurance. And those costs, as we all know, aren't necessarily coming down, particularly insurance costs aren't coming down. Now, if I look at both housing starts and housing sales, they definitely have slowed. Just look at the numbers coming from the major housing or home builders such as Lennar and Toll Brothers. Yes, they have done well, but they're showing softness going forward. Some, of course, has to do with higher interest rates. And when it comes to interest rates, the Fed's impact is on shorter-term rates, not necessarily on longer-term rates. And President Trump has been on Jay Powell, calling Jay Powell all kinds of names in an effort to push him to start cutting rates. Now, the Fed chairman just has one vote on the committee. The committee seems to indicate that they're data dependent, and data has not yet indicated to start cutting rates. Now, that said, given recent economic numbers, particularly on the jobs front, which definitely show some slowing in the jobs front and slowing in the wages front, the Fed could have some room to start cutting at some point in time. Now, of course, today, well, I do not believe the Fed is going to cut based on what they have said, based on my reading of the economy, which still remains reasonably strong and is still, we'll put it this way, it's not in a recession mode, but that could change when we get the next GDP report in July. Because we did have 1 quarter of negative GDP growth already, and if we have 2 in a row, that's indicative of a recession. That said, the Fed is in a tough spot. Yes, inflation is coming down, but it's not at their goal. Unemployment is still not high enough for the Fed to start acting. So I'll say at the outside, the Fed cuts 25%, and that's probably to give a bone to the administration. If the Fed cuts more than 25 basis points at this meeting, that to me would be a sign that not only the Fed was way behind the curve, but it could be indicative of the economy weakening a lot faster. And if you remember it last September when the Fed cut 50 basis points, the market did not like that. So we'll say no cut or a teeny possibility of a 25% cut today, but do pay attention to the verbiage in the Fed's report and to Jay Powell's conference that'll start about 1:30 today. 1:30 today. And that does tend to be market moving. Meantime, one of my favorite stocks, TKO, took a huge jump today. I guess Vince McMahon is finished selling and more buyers are coming in to the company that owns WWE and the UFC, is looking at boxing and is one of the bigger talent agencies around. Something that's of interest, I'll say to me, particularly in the leisure and entertainment space. These are companies that have done well in all kinds of economic times. I will say that TKO and several other companies have wide spreads between the bid and the ask, and they are thinly traded. Just something to think about, but that does follow in my, we'll say, wheelhouse and my focus of companies involved in the internet, leisure-related businesses, China-related businesses without necessarily being in China, real assets, and always keeping a little bit available for some very short-term trading.
Excellent advice as always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
hopefully the Twins get a win today down in Cincinnati.
No doubt. Well,
maybe they need some extra chili, Skyline, and a little Grater's ice cream.
No doubt. We'll hope for that tonight, Josh.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.